This is a podcast about one woman's mission to help entrepreneurs and business owners write better business books. Each week, we tackle your writing excuses, because there are excuses too, and help you beat the blank page of doom so that you can write the book that'll grow your life and your business. Now here's your host, Vicky Fraser.
Hello and welcome to the 1000 Authors Show. I'm Vicky Fraser, and today I've replaced Joe with Suzi, who is fantastic and does not have unruly eyebrows, which we're going to talk about in a minute. Suzi, thank you so much for coming on the show.
Thanks for having me.
And we are going to talk about all manner of things today. We are going to talk about some businessy stuff and marketing stuff as well. But we are recording this on April what the hell day is it even?
No one knows. I do know it's the 9th, because it's supposed to be 4 months until my wedding. So keeping the fingers crossed.
Yeah, we can talk about that as well then. But yeah, it's currently day 493 of lockdown, April the 9th, and nobody knows what the hell day it is. Apparently it's Easter this weekend. What? I don't know.
I know. What a way to spend Easter.
I've been eating Easter eggs for a week.
You?
Yeah.
Do you know what? I haven't had an Easter egg yet. Is that a necessary item?
I think, yeah. Well, Joe keeps buying them.
Oh, well.
Yeah.
You're right.
Yeah.
I need to get Ollie down to Tesco again.
You absolutely do. Okay, so yeah, let's talk about, tell us who you are first before we dive into what the hell's going on at the moment.
Okay, so I'm Suzi Gray, and I am a brand and story expert, and I essentially help what I call quietly rebellious online entrepreneurs to captivate with conviction and to be able to show up as the most captivating version of themselves, have the confidence to do that, and have the clarity to say what they really want to say, share their stories, turn those stories into sales ultimately, and I guess have that ripple effect through the world as well. Like I really want to help women radically express themselves through their stories, through their brands. So yeah. My business is called Captivation House, so everything is kind of on that foundation, if you like.
And you should absolutely go and check out Suzi's website, because not only is it a visual treat, and I totally got loads of ideas for my photo shoot from your photos. So I was like, they look so great.
Awesome.
But also you've got Easter eggs hidden on your website, and I love that. Not like that.
Yeah, no actual chocolate, but if you head to the website, there's a little tab called Trapdoor, and that will take you through quite a fun experience, if I may say so myself. It's good fun.
It is good fun. I have done it. Okay, so as I say, we're recording this now on April the 9th, and everything, the world has gone totally, we're in bizarro world. Yeah, as I like to call it. But you mentioned storytelling, and so let's do a bit of storytelling, because there are some fabulous stories coming out of what's going on, and like there's awful stuff going on, and this is a global tragedy and all the rest of it, but that doesn't mean that you can't make the most of it and tell the stories that are coming out of it. So tell us some stories. What have you and Ollie been getting up to on lockdown? How have you been coping?
Oh my goodness, we don't want to go into those stories. No. Well, do you know what, it feels a bit like almost like life is normal for me, and I recognise like that I'm really privileged to be able to say that, because the sun is shining. We have like a garden in the sun, and so for me to be able to go and sit outside is probably what is keeping me sane right now, especially because the other half's now working from home, so we're in this little tiny space together. But yeah, it's just I'm a hardcore introvert, so spending time at home, like working from home, that is normal life for me. So I think it's just making sure that I'm being social, like with the people that I know online. I think that's really important right now, and sharing stories with those people and supporting them through whatever they're going through, because like no one knows what's going to happen. And when all this started, I was in Washington DC, which I had to make the decision whether to go or not. Mm-hmm. But this was about a month ago now, so things hadn't really kind of gone by then, but they did start to while I was out there. So it was a bit, should I change my flight? Am I going to be able to get home? All of that kind of stuff. But managed to absolutely fine, and I've pretty much been holed up since I got back. But that was such a cool experience, and I feel like I haven't really been able to tell that story. Like, I've got some great stories from that experience. I was on a brand retreat with a few other women I'm in a mastermind in, and it felt wrong to then share those and talk about those, because the story was all about what's going on, and I don't even want to say the word because I'm like, I will not talk about it. But it's impossible not to talk about it. And I felt a bit frustrated at the beginning because that was all of the conversation. And I understand why, but I was very much like, that's not the story I want to be telling. I don't want to be telling this, the rhetoric to be fear-based or do you know what else actually annoyed me was how everyone was suddenly an expert in how to run a business during a pandemic, and I was like, are you for real? No one knows. So I respect you for showing up for your people and for being supportive, but that to me was the wrong kind of messaging to be using. So I just didn't want to be telling that story. But in terms of like day to day, it's not that much different. It's just like me at home hanging out with my cat and talking to people on the internet.
I know, right? It's the same for me because I obviously run a business from home as well, and I've had a similar problem to you. Is like I got my hairdresser to send me a tutorial for how to cut your fringe because, as you can see, it's not going to be long before I need to do that. Oh,
do you know I've got a story about cutting my fringe. If you want to hear that,
yes.
It went terribly. I've learnt. So I've had 2 incidents with cutting my hair before. But basically, when I was young, my mum, the delight that she is, liked to tell me that I had a bit of a long face. So generally, I would have a fringe. And then, being slightly rebellious as I was, wanting what I didn't have, I decided I didn't want a fringe anymore, but it was going to take too long to grow out. So I cut the whole thing off. I just cut the fringe off. It was like, well, then it's gone. And of course, it grew back, except it grew back upwards. I had this like tuft just growing out my forehead, which got me the name Toothbrush.
Oh, no.
At the time, which you'd think was adorable, but that wasn't my finest moment. And then I've had another incident. I mean, at least I was a child when I did that, a child-ish. But I was about 18 when I attempted to cut layers into my hair, which I thought was just cutting like that. I don't know what I was thinking, but I basically just took a whole chunk out the back of my hair. So I must say, your fringe has gone much better.
Well, I haven't cut it yet, so...
Oh, okay, we'll get back to it after.
I will. I did dye it though the other day because
I know. Yeah, I saw on your Insta.
Yeah, he did very well.
Yeah,
but let's go back to the whole, because this is something that has been driving me nuts. And like you say, suddenly everybody is an expert on running a business in a pandemic. But also, did you notice how many marketers are expert epidemiologists suddenly as well? And expert like medical people, and it's like, oh, everybody's giving advice about what to do, and I'm like, dude, shut up, stay in your lane.
I know. It's like, I don't want advice right now. Just, I'll go to the scientists for the advice. I know. It's kind of, it's interesting to see how people respond in different ways, and also how I respond as well. And I think we question, am I responding correctly right now based on what you're seeing other people do? Like, there's that comparison game there as well. But I just had to, kind of stay true to myself, what my instincts were saying, and then communicating that to my people and saying, you don't have to be pivoting right now, even that's what everyone is telling you to do. You don't have to be dropping your prices right now, even though everyone's telling you like that is the appropriate thing to do. And I think it's really important to be able to still hear your own voice in amongst the excessive noise.
There's been a lot of shoulds thrown around. It's like, you should be doing this, you should be doing that. And I was talking about pivoting the other day. I sent an email. Do you remember that episode of Friends when Ross is trying to get the show?
Yeah,
That's what the entire internet was like. It was like, pivot.
Yeah.
And it's like,
Yeah.
shut up.
I know. And it's like, it might be the right thing to pivot.
Yeah.
But you'd need to think about that strategically and look at what's happening with your people and whether it's right for your business, because you as a business owner have still got to make money. And it, just because the landscape has shifted doesn't necessarily mean that everything in your business has to shift.
Yeah.
It might just be like a really simple messaging tweak, rather than like, creating something brand new from scratch because you feel like you have to, or like you say, you should because someone else is telling you that. So yeah, it's really tuning in and deciding for yourself what is the right thing.
Yeah. And the other thing that I've noticed, and this is kind of similar, is the amount of tone deaf marketing going on. So I was I saw, I think it was a dog trainer, and they would do like a 30 days. She's like, where do you want to be in 30 days? Do you want to be with like blah blah blah? And I was like, alive is what a lot of people are thinking right now. It's just like, and so I would like to ask you, I'm going to put you on the spot a little bit here, and I apologize for that, but you must have seen some awful stuff come into your inbox, the kind of the pandemic related stuff. So does anything stand out to you as being particularly badly done, tone deaf, that kind of thing?
It's interesting because I think I'm really must be really protective of what comes into my inbox. So I haven't seen anything that I've gone really, like that's not cool. I've seen maybe a couple of things that other people have shared, but nothing that's really stood out to me. So now I'm interested in what you've seen that's like been awful, that I've protected myself from somehow.
That's really cool. You know what? It's not so much that it's been awful. I have seen like I think the dog training thing was the worst thing. It's like it was just really frivolous. It was right at the beginning when nobody knew how bad it was going to be, and we were just like, actually, I kind of just don't want to die over the next few months. It'd be quite nice. But I've just had so many boring messages from companies that I maybe bought from 3 or 4 years ago, and I've not heard from them since. And then they suddenly pop up in my inbox with, "This is what we're doing to deal with COVID-19," and I'm like, I don't know who you are, and I don't care.
What I have seen is probably less my business email inbox, and it's more my personal email inbox. Like the ton of stuff that I've got from like people called Dave or Roger, who are CEOs of like supermarkets. I've had lots of messages from them letting me know how they're handling this crisis. And I think, it's like, I hate boring anyway. And that's why I'm so into storytelling, because it's a way to not be boring, or it's a way to escape what I call the epidemic of generic. Emails that come in like that, when you got the first one, it's like, oh, okay. And then when you got like so many from possibly every company you've ever bought something from, it's like, I don't really need to know this. You're just kind of clogging up my inbox. There's probably a better way of approaching the situation.
So I'm going to segue that neatly into, how do you help business owners to do that? Because I know that one of the biggest things that people find difficult to overcome is it's actually really scary to do that. It's scary to stick. It's much easier, much safer to just do what everybody else is doing, because then you blend in and nobody notices you, which is obviously the big problem. So how do you work with business owners to help them? Flopping my
what is it?
It's my belt.
It's getting irate.
How do you bring business owners out their shells? What are your top tips for being braver?
That's a good way of looking at it, actually. Yeah. So the way I see it is like every single business owner is sitting on a gold mine, and that gold mine is them. It's like the unique blend of skills, experiences, stories, perspectives that like you bring to the world and you bring to your work. Like that is a gold mine. And so it's about, do you decide to build your brand on your gold mine, or do you decide to build it on someone else's, where you're never going to be able to like reap the reward from doing that, because it's not based on who you are and what you stand for. So the work I do is really is like mining, is going in, like mining for that gold and discovering what it is that makes someone so unique, and then leveraging that, because that is the only way you are going to build a truly unique personal brand is when it is personal and it's based on you. And a lot of people don't want to do that because it's it can be uncomfortable, and like you say, it can be really scary to decide to, you know, zag when other people are zigging, or zigging when others are zagging. To know that if I do this, then it will work. But I guess the way I see it is, if you make decisions intentionally and strategically based on where you want to go, you can't get it wrong. Like, it's impossible to get it wrong. You're only going to get it wrong if you're trying to fit yourself into a box that doesn't belong to you. So yeah, we do everything from like figuring out what that bigger vision is, to what your it's like building that solid foundation. So what that brand fingerprint is, what do you want to be known for? What are you standing for? And also equally, what are you standing against? Having those points of view that polarize people. So it's obviously really important to attract more of those perfect fit people to you, but it's equally as important to repel the wrong ones, because then if you do that, you're making your life so much easier. And it's like saying, I'm the person for this group of people because this is what I stand for, but I'm not right for you if, like, you know, you're over in this camp. Like, someone else is right for you. It's really about finding what your edges are and what the angles are, communicating those in a really unique way, using like your own brand language, finding like a creative concept that you can communicate everything through, that just makes your entire brand cohesive. So it's undeniably unique, and you that's what you become known for. And that's how you depending on what you want to do with your business, that's how you become position yourself as an expert, or become a thought leader, or whatever it is. It's like, you know, you've got to decide to be the one instead of one of many. It's very much a mental game as well. Like, you've got to just decide.
So tell me a bit about your journey then, because I know that you built your business and you've started doing Captivation Health, and it's been fairly recent. It's been fairly recent, hasn't it? It seems very fresh and new.
Well,
so where did you come from, and how did you get to where you are now?
I came from the womb. My previous life, because it really was a previous life, was as a lawyer. So like, that was my whole path. Went to uni to study law, did my post-grad in law, went into the world of work as a lawyer, qualified, worked as a lawyer, and then it was like, oh God, this is not what I want to do for the rest of my life. And then figuring out, okay, well, if it's not this, what is it instead? Long story short, found my way into an ad agency, because I thought, I'm good at writing, maybe I could do something there, but in a creative way, and fell in love with what I discovered was copywriting. And then I was there for about a year, really wanted to develop more, and I was limited into what I could do at that agency. And I had to really make a decision. Did I go somewhere else, maybe travelled like Bristol, to work for a bigger ad agency, to learn from people who really knew what great advertising copywriting was? Or did I just do it on my own, start my own business, do something crazy? And I decided for the latter option and haven't really looked back. So that'll be 5 years ago in May that I started my business. And I was a copywriter. Like, that's really where I've made a name for myself. Like, that's what I was known for a long time. That's how I made the vast majority of my revenue. And I learned a ton from just doing it on my own, like figuring it out as I went, and I guess putting my own style and spin on the way that I wrote, and people really liked that and wanted that, for their own brand. And it was about, you say it's a recent thing, but it's not really. It's over 2 years ago that I rebranded. Yeah. I know, it's insane. So I changed my company name to Captivation House because I wanted a brand that fit me, and I'd outgrown the previous one and the previous name. It just didn't align anymore. And when that happens, that's when something big has got to change, and I've really got to sort this out. So rebranded so that I was now living in a brand that felt expansive, and it was going to allow me to grow into it and with it, rather than just outgrow it really fast and then need to change everything. That's often what happens with people because they haven't done the deep strategic work on their brand first. So that was over, it's probably 2.5 years ago now that I relaunched the website and really started to position myself more in the brand strategy arena alongside copywriting, because I think I'll always want to write for people. It's just I didn't want to rely on that form of income. Yeah. And I wanted to scale my business outside of just delivering services for people, and that's when I created the Captivation Code, which is my signature program, and that's where I really want to focus, because the people who've gone through it have loved it, and it's just transformed so much for them, and that's really exciting for me. And I want to see more online business owners be able to go through that and own their brand and own their space online and have the confidence to show up as who they want to be, rather than who they maybe currently are.
Yeah, that's so cool. You and I have had quite a similar journey, I think, because I started off as a copywriter as well, as you know, and it's just it's so cool when you find what you're kind of meant to do. It's really cool. Yeah, it
is really cool. Yeah.
And I love your writing, by the way. I've fangirled over your writing. So 100% thoroughly recommend you. But tell us about your signature program, because I'm just looking at what time it is. We're getting close to time, but I want it does go fast, especially when you're talking crap about eyebrows and stuff. So
did we talk about eyebrows?
Maybe not on air. So now people are like, what on earth are they on about? We'll leave them guessing, because it's always good to leave people guessing. So tell us about your signature program and where people can find out more about it.
Oh, well, yes. So it's called the Captivation Code. First ran it last year. I did it as a beta because it was my first kind of dipping the toe into teaching rather than just doing it for people. And I really loved it. And I thought, yes, this could have legs. Relaunched it again last autumn, had a bunch of people go through that. And they basically just said, this is gold. This has changed everything. And that was real validation for me, because I am a validation seeker. And it's a struggle for me sometimes to trust myself over, trusting others. And I always seek validation from others. So that was great validation for me. So the focus really is to make that one of, if not the best, branding programs for people who are not brand new to business, but are maybe where I was, 2 years-ish in. It could be before that, could be longer than that, just depending on where you are in your head and where you really want to go. Who know that to get to that level they want to be, to get to that thought leadership status, to maybe move themselves from service provider to educator, or scaling their business through courses, programs, rather than just being someone who delivers. And they're seeking clarity, confidence to show up as who they really want to be. I want it to be the best branding program for people like that, so that they feel like they're not just running a business, they are running a brand. This is something that they feel so at home in. And that it attracts the right kind of people to the doorstep, and everything is intentional and has that creative twist that gets remembered and that gets people excited and that makes you want to be a part of that story. That's really what it's about. So I'm redesigning it at the moment, so it's even better. And who knows when I'll be releasing it, but There's a waitlist on the website.
Okay, so how can people get onto your waitlist then?
If you, oh my God, I should know this, shouldn't I?
I never know.
I don't know my own website.
I always have the most stupid URLs with like hyphens in them, and I try and read them out on the podcast. And Joe's always like, fuck's sake, you need to really sort this out. And I'm like,
I know, I should have a little short link or something. So at the moment, it's captivation-house.com/the-captivation-code-waitlist.
I'm so glad I'm not the only person who does that. Right, I'm going to put the link in the show notes for anybody who wants to go and have a look. And yeah, so was it captivationhouse.com?
She's going to make me say it again. captivationhouse.com/the-captivation-code-waitlist.
The captivation code waitlist with dashes in between. Cool.
Yes. I'm so sorry.
No, do not worry. You have literally just made me feel so much better about my inability to create URLs that make any sense.
Well, I'm glad. That's why I did it.
That's cool. Thank you so much, Suzi. This has been really great. I love talking to you. It's really good fun. I'm going to get you back at some point to talk about this validation thing, because I have the same problem. It's just, external validation, which never works because it has to come from within. And so we can have a whole chat about that one day, maybe, towards the end of this quarantine, if it ever ends. Thank you for coming on the podcast. Thank you for
having me.
Chatting with me. Thank you for listening to me ramble. You can go find out more about Suzi at captivationhouse.com, and Joe will be back next week and we will be talking about writing books again. So guys, thank you so much for listening. As always, you can share this podcast, you can go rate it and review it. If you don't like it, other podcasts are available, and we'll be back same time next week. Bye.
Thanks so much. Bye.
Thanks for listening. You can find links and show notes on the website at moxiebooks.co.uk/podcast, where you can also sign up for the best daily emails in the multiverse and find loads of free resources to help you write your book. We'll be back the same time next week with more tales from the book writing trenches and the latest on what the tiny sheeps have been up to.